Our top story of the hour, and Venezuela's kidnapped president and first lady have arrived at the New York courthouse for their first appearance. The strikes on Venezuela and the subsequent capture of President Maduro and his wife still continues to be a major global controversy, with many leaders still divided on the American action. Iran has called for the release of Venezuela's ousted president. A spokesman for Iran's foreign ministry, Ismail Baqai, condemned the operation, whereas Germany has urged restraint, with Deputy Government spokesperson Sebastian Hill emphasizing that everyone, including the United States, must respect international law. Furthermore, the European Union is asking for Machado's inclusion in Venezuela's transition. Let's listen in to both the statements.
رئیس جمهور و همسر رئیس جمهوری کشور ربوده شده، این اصلاً جای افتخار نداره. این یک عمل کاملا غیرقانونی است و همانطور که خود مقام‌های ونزوئلایی و مردم ونزوئلا تاکید کردن، باید رئیس جمهورشون آزاد بشه.
Der Bundeskanzler hat unterstrichen, alle, auch die USA, müssen das Völkerrecht achten. Dies gilt ausdrücklich für staatliche Souveränität und territoriale Integrität. Wie der Bundeskanzler auch gesagt hat, darf es nun in Venezuela keine politische Instabilität geben. Es ist wichtig, den Weg zu Wahlen zu bahnen, damit es zu einer demokratisch legitimierten Transition kommen kann. Die USA müssen auch der Weltöffentlichkeit erklären, auf welcher Basis denn das Handeln zu beurteilen ist, was wir die letzten Tage erlebt haben, und das ist bisher nicht geschehen.
We have millions of Venezuelans that have voted for change, and they have supported Edmundo González by a significant majority, according to what we had available. So the next steps are about dialogue towards democratic transition, which must include Edmundo González and Maria Corina.
Meanwhile, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán linked the US operation in Venezuela to global energy markets, warning that controlling Venezuelan oil reserves could allow the United States to influence world oil prices. Orbán described the incident as a sign of a new world, emerging with significant geopolitical and economic consequences. Let's listen in to the statement.
Venezuelával kapcsolatban azt szeretném mondani, hogy ez már az új világnak az egyik erőteljes megnyilvánulása. Új nyelv, ezen a nyelven fog beszélni a világ a jövőben. Amit ebből én Magyarország számára fontosnak érzek, az, hogy Venezuelával együtt az Egyesült Államok, most becslés, amit mondani fogok, képes a világ olajkészletének 40-50%-át ellenőrizni. Ez egy olyan erő, amely már alkalmas arra, hogy jelentősen befolyásolja az energia világpiaci árát.
Joining us now in this discussion is Professor Rohan Gunaratne, an international affairs expert. He joins us live from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Gunaratne. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Of course, this has sent ripples through the geopolitical world. We've just seen Nicolas Maduro arrive at the courthouse with his wife firmly on US soil in handcuffs, led to his first day in a New York court. The operation, however, is what's stirring all the controversy, with world leaders around the world giving their 2 cents on the current situation. Do you think this is a new beginning for international law, and what precedent does it set for other global powers when it comes to situations like this?
Certainly, Thomas, it's going to influence many other countries. We should not be surprised if China takes a leaf from this new chapter and threatens Taiwan. So I personally believe that international law, because even the American experts have said that international law has been compromised. But what is important is that the United States placed its national security interests over the existing legal framework. And that means President Trump reviewed the indictment that was where they charged Maduro and others in year 2020. In fact, on March 26th, the then Attorney General of the United States indicted Maduro and others, and that is the basis for his for the raid to Venezuela and his capture, subsequent arrest, and of course now Maduro and his wife being presented before court in New York. So all this is going to, in many ways, influence and shape the new geopolitical, the multipolar environment.
Of course, and Professor Gunaratne, this is expected to be a very long and complicated legal process, with Maduro's lawyers definitely going to argue that he has sovereign immunity as a sitting head of state. What can we expect from this trial, drawing from the examples of history?
It is very likely that Maduro will be sentenced because the Americans have collected significant evidence of cocaine shipments from Venezuela to the United States after a group in Colombia called the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, moved their operating bases into Venezuela. So the main argument the Americans will be making, the US prosecutors will make, is that Venezuela was a major base for the shipment of cocaine into the United States, and Maduro knew about it and he didn't take sufficient action. Of course, they will also present evidence where Maduro and his colleagues, his associates were involved in this transshipment. But the American criminal justice and the prison system is a very fair one. They will examine all this evidence and they will make a decision. So this trial is going to have a lot of global focus, and it is very possible that the US will give a very long sentence to Maduro.
Yes, Professor Gunaratne, do stay with us as we have further news stories to discuss. And we move